Welcome to the Mundus Fractura Lore Guide. This week on Lore Guide, we will take a look at a fascinating phenomenon known as loops. There are isolated pockets, or possibly more aptly bubbles, that can be found both on and within Mundus, known for a strange temporal anomaly where time seems to repeat. These loops don't just simply replay time in a strict linear sense, however. Sentient and the more intelligent non-sentient animal life within these pockets have knowledge of and can retain memories from past iterations. However, physical consequence and the laws of cause and effect to the material environment are somewhat muddled. The physical size of the areas of each individual loop is non-typical and varies from occurrence to occurrence, along with, but in no way related, to the duration of a loop from start to finish. Confused? Fear not, as I will clarify. Let us pretend that you are a dwarven miner named Cleve of the clan Deepcut. You are working away one fine day in your first solo mine when you break through to a grand crystal cave. The cave is immense, and you spend the rest of your workday exploring the deposit. Alas, your lamp oil is now running low, and your workday is coming to a close. You begin to head back to the main shaft when you feel a strange sensation. A tickle at the base of your neck, then a feeling of dread overtakes you and you experience an unspeakable pain. You awaken in the middle of the crystal cavern. Huh? Well, you must have fallen asleep. There must be some cave gases. That must have been a dream. You got lucky, and your robust dwarven constitution has given you a second chance. With some expedience, you make your way to the main shaft. On your way, you notice your lamp oil is nearly full. Strange? It must have been a dream. You reach the main shaft and can see the sunlight a ways down at the shaft entrance. Odd indeed. As you attempt to enter the main shaft, you feel an invisible force stopping you. You hammer away at the invisible barrier with no success. No matter, you think to yourself. You'll just dig out a new path to the primary shaft. You work away your day, but with each hole you dig, you encounter this strange barrier. Then, as your lamp oil again runs low, you feel a tickle at the base of your neck. You awaken at the center of the cavern, just as last time. It's about now that the mental gymnastics kick in as you rack your brain for answers. You head to the main shaft, but find that none of the new holes you've dug are there. Further considering that you've been digging vigorously the better part of a day, you feel reasonably well rested and not sore at all. Flash forward, you have now lived a lifetime in this nearly 1 kilometer diameter cavern, a lifetime in segments of what you believe to be precisely 6 hours, 2 minutes, and 2 seconds. Our dwarven friend Cleve is one of the lucky ones. Loops can be as small as outhouses and last for decades, or they might be vast expanses that last for seconds and all possibilities in between. By far the most famous of these bubbles or loops can be found in the lands of the Eastern Alliance. Located in a crater to the southwest of the Great Residuum Field lies the Fortin Valley. The valley, so named due to the 4 towns at its center, being Easton, Weston, Northton, and Southton. The loop in this area nearly perfectly fills the crater basin at approximately 160 kilometers in diameter, with an approximate duration of just over a year. The valley still manages to be an effective member of the Eastern Alliance due to its size, loop duration, and population. It regularly trades supplies and goods with the normal world, providing a steady supply of ale and grain. The Eastern Alliance administration takes special precautions, only dealing with the valley at specific times of year, and only at a trading post found at the valley's northern border. Loop formation events are exceedingly rare, but for any individuals within the event horizon, entrapment is certain. For anyone unfortunate enough to stumble into an existing loop, entrapment is not immediate. It would seem that entrapment by the loop effect is directly related to duration of exposure in relation to the natural duration of the loop, meaning for loops with longer durations, in lengths of, say, years, you might exist and be able to freely leave after days or months in the loop. But shorter loops may only provide you with seconds or minutes to escape before becoming trapped. The science is not completely clear on this topic. Unfortunately, study of the effect is problematic and not particularly prevalent for many reasons, not the least of which is the fear of entrapment. The following is known about loops with certainty. Non-living matter can pass in and out of the loop. However, there seems to be an intent or possibly speed factor to this observation. For example, the Fortons can export ale and grains and import items. However, should you shoot an arrow at the effect from within, it will shatter on contact with the loop's event horizon. It is known that an observer outside of the loop, let's call them outie, can see the activities inside the loop. But a person who is entrapped and part of the loop, let's call them innie, cannot see outie outside the loop. Entrapped living organisms do not age, but all experience the reset effect. Few outsiders have seen loop resets, but records tell of individuals suffering tremendous physical pain shortly before imploding and then reappearing anywhere from seconds to a few hours later at what is presumed to be their point of initial entrapment. Some of the more venerable entrapped freely resort to suicide, claiming the practice is preferable to the physical agony endured from a natural reset. The practice doesn't remove the individual from entrapment. Using our example of the dwarf, Cleve, and his 6-hour loop. Should he decide to end his mortal coil on hour 1, his consciousness would just cease to be for the next 5 hours. At the end of the typical loop duration, his physical body would implode and the loop would reset as normal. He would awaken anew at the start of his next loop. Any entrapped subject has all physical deformation, damage, or trauma reset to the state that it was at the time of their entrapment. This can be both a blessing and a curse, though it causes all corruption, illness, and injuries gained while entrapped to vanish. Any pre-entrapment statuses or conditions can never truly be cured as they reappear on every reset of the loop. Reptilian, mammalian, and gelatinoids all seem to be affected by the loops in these ways, retaining memory and skill, and otherwise physically reliving the same temporal period again and again. Quarry, or tree folk, as plants, do not retain any memory or skills gained from loop to loop. Their loops are the same relived experience again and again. Not that they are even aware of it. Mycelium experience the loop in a much different way than either plants or animals. Firstly, they do not implode. They do retain a version of their memories. However, with each loop they acquire small errors or omissions. Along with this mental degradation is an accompanied physical deterioration, a fundamental genetic transformation. Eventually, if a mycelium is trapped in a loop long enough, it will de-evolve into a non-sentient variant of a basic psilocybin mushroom. Loops are truly fascinating and terrifying phenomena that I pray to the great pantheons of the cosmos you never run afoul. That is all for this time. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned for future lore guide shorts, and thank you for listening. Goodbye for now.